So how did you spend your last birthday? For Aaron Nola, he spent it today giving out his own T-shirts. That's right, the folks at IBEW Local 98 provided the giveaway for today. It was an Aaron Nola T-shirt, and some of the fans got a chance to even see the Phillies starting pitcher. He was outstanding with all the young kids. Not only did he hand out T-shirts, he also took some tickets and then gave them back, and then took some more photos. With a smile on his face, we get set for Game 3 between the Phils and the Brewers. Weekends with Schmidt, presented by Acme Markets. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Mike Schmidt, who we'll talk to about the offense in just a little bit, and Ben Davis, who we're going to talk to about today's starting pitcher, Jeremy Hellickson, who has pitched very well for the Phillies, and the Phillies are going to need that again today and hope that they'll get some offense to back what Jeremy's doing.
It would be nice to just get a string of wins together, but Jeremy Hellickson has been just phenomenal. Really a great signing by Matt Klentak and the front office staff, but it really sets him apart this season. He's always had a good changeup. He says it's the best he's ever thrown that changeup. Opponents hitting just .065 against that pitch this season. It continues to get as good as any changeup in the league, and when he's missing with it, he's missing that down and not up out over the plate.
It's surprising that hitters are so off balance against it. Now, it could be that his fastball's been coming in at like 92 miles an hour, so they're being set up, and he's then able to establish things with those off-speed pitches.
He is, and what's great about the off-speed pitches as well is he's able to get back in counts, falling behind 1-0, 2-0 even, and coming back and throwing a good quality pitch with that changeup. Take a look at those numbers. They are excellent.
All right, well, without the chains, Ben Davis is ready for today's ball game. Mike's mad that he missed 70s Retro Night, although he was part of it in spirit. All right, so what about this offense? Last night they get 6 runs. Pete McCadden said it was great to get a big lead.
It sure was, but let me start with this. Why aren't we wearing the same outfits?
It's too hot.
A little superstitious. Who doesn't like offense? I know I do. Here you see the numbers, Tommy. That's happened. First time multi-home run game with 2 home runs. 3 home runs, or 3 runs twice in back-to-back innings, you know, so some good stuff last night. I wish I had an answer for you. You can write a book on how offense is created in baseball, and the most important thing, of course, is consistency, and we're wondering if the Phils can maintain some consistency now. You know, you all play golf, you've played basketball. When you make a shot early in the game or when you make a putt early in the round, kind of loosens you up,
yeah,
makes you feel good. You start believing the ball's going to go in the hole. You start believing the ball's going to go in the hoop. These guys maybe now will start believing when they go to home plate, the ball's going to fall in. The ground ball's going to find a hole. They're going to get hits. They're going to score runs. It's just a whole new mindset. It's nothing more than momentum, relaxing, and hopefully today will be the second game in a row where they can do that.
All right, we'll see if the Phillies can. Pete McCadden has shaken up his lineup a little bit one more time, and we'll see if the guys that are in there today can provide the spark offensively. Junior Guerra will make the start for the Milwaukee Brewers. Phillies have never seen him. He is a converted catcher. We'll tell you about that story throughout today's telecast. And Jeremy Hellickson making his 12th start of the season for the Phillies. It's a beautiful day in South Philadelphia. Time to take a stroll if you're a little leaguer or softball player around the ballpark. Lineups and first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota. For great summer deals, visit your local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IVX.com. been one of the more consistent pitchers, not only for the Phillies, but in the National League through the month of May. And he's going to take the mound today for his first start here in June. Let's take a look at the Brewers lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Jonathan Villar leads it off at short, then Aaron Hill and Ryan Braun. Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher, will bat fourth. Chris Carter fifth. Scooter Gennett will hit sixth. In the bottom third of Santana, Neuenhuis, and Junior Guerra. And they will face Jeremy Hellickson, the 29-year-old's 4-3. ERA of 3.68. He did not get a decision in his last outing, despite the fact he pitched wonderful baseball for 7 innings. Through 79 pitches, was lifted from that game. Comes in with a 4-3 record and ERA of 3.68.
Look at the scouting report for Jeremy Hellickson here. He'll sit at right about 90 miles an hour. That changeup, which we discussed in the open, is so good. Hitters just hitting .065 against that pitch.
Well, here is VR to lead it off, and the first pitch of the day is in there for a strike. We're underway. It's 0-1. Jonathan VR, former Philly prospect.
That's a good sign. That was a upper level strike right there, a little above the waist. You don't see that called very often.
Down the left field line, out of play, and quickly it's 0-2.
Been impressed watching this series. VR, nice player, good actions, shortstop.
Yeah, when he was at the Phillies organization, he was always in the backfields. I don't think we any of us got a chance to see him on a consistent basis, and he was way thinner than he is now. He has filled out his frame. Change up low, and it's 1-2. I don't know if you heard our note last night, but he leads all of Major League Baseball in stolen bases, and the last 5 shortstops to do it include Frank Tavares, and Bert Campaneris. Fastball inside, 2-2.
See, that's a pitch that keeps everybody, I want to say, concerned. That's why that changeup's so good, because he can command. I'm using that word, command. That's okay. That hard fastball inside, man, that says a lot. That makes that pitch right there effective.
Yeah, he almost got him to offer at it. Manny Gonzalez says no swing. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
It is close, but he does hold up.
VR is 4 for 19 against the Phillies with 2 home runs in this series. Fouls the fastball back, and it remains 3-2. These 2 teams have split the first 2 games. Brewers lineup has not changed as far as the participants go, but Aaron Hill is up to the number 2 spot. He was toward the bottom of the order in the first 2 games of this series. And that one's pulled deep to right field. He golfs it right on out of the ballpark. And VR with his 3rd home run of the series. He gives the Brewers a 1-0 lead.
Pretty impressive at bat right there to start a game off.
We've seen him go down the line off the fair pole last night. We've seen him go dead center the other night off Jemar Gomez, and now he pulls one to right.
Mark my word, there's going to be a place a little further down in the batting order for that young man eventually.
Tries to get it inside, but lefties love that ball down and in. Ball's in, but it's down. Able to drop the head and golf it on out of here.
So the Brewers take the early lead. Aaron Hill is now the batter, and Aaron takes a strike. That was a 7-pitch at bat for VR, and he's now 4 for 10 in this series, and 3 of the 4 hits are home runs. Aaron Hill, 273, 6 homers and 21 runs batted in. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Speed, power, defense. We might have ourselves a 5-tool player in VR.
Yeah, for so many years, we've talked about all these trades the Phillies have made that not many of them have come back and haunt them. Ground ball to shortstop. Galvis is up with it and 1 away. But VR and maybe even Domingo Santana, these are evolving ball players that used to be in the Phil's system. But the players that they got back also helped them win some divisions at the time. Time now for our Nissan keys to today's ball game.
I'll go first. Simple. Just build on yesterday. Got a streak. You got 1. Now let's get 2. Just don't look too far ahead. Relax. Realize how easy it was last night.
Mine was don't change. Meaning
sport coats, turtlenecks,
no.
outfit.
Jeremy
I don't want to
Hellickson.
wear that again today.
Jeremy Hellickson needs to continue to throw that change, so don't change from throwing the change.
Well, it certainly helped in the at bat against Aaron Hill. Here's Ryan Braun. Ryan Braun is 2 hits away from 1,500 for his career. And he waves at the 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's 1 for 8 so far in this series with a double and an RBI. The double went the opposite way, split the gap in right center field in game 1. There you go, Ben. He throws the change, and it's 1-2.
It's the same arm action.
I was thinking the same thing. That's why you see a lot of wild swings. Everything must look like a fastball in the strike zone, coming out of his hand. And that's what you read as a hitter. You know, you read arm slot, you read the height of the ball coming out of the pitcher's hand. You might have to see that from above. I'd like to see from where that crossed home plate.
Well, the percentage of pitches so far this year for Hellickson. Take a look. Just a bit inside.
See, it was inside, just like I thought.
C.B. Buckner is right on the nose with that one. A little tapper foul.
See, what Braun does is very good. Makes him one of the things that makes him a really good hitter is 2-strike count right there. He chased that ball down with his eyes. You see, I mean, there was no eyes kind of looking up out at center field when he swung that bat. He actually just poked at it to try and spoil it so he could live for another pitch.
His bat does stay in the zone. It stays on plane for such a very flat bat.
He's had 2 tough at bats right here, Hellickson. The first one and the third one.
It's partly why his pitch count is up to 16 already here in the first. Three balls, 2 strikes to Braun. And a line drive just past Tommy Joseph at first. And a base hit for Braun, so he's aboard with 1 away.
Boy, is that good hitting.
Professional at bat right there.
That was.
Professional. As good a 2-strike approach as you'll see right there. And that's why you look up the scoreboard and it said 341.
Yeah, second in the league in hitting. Daniel Murphy leading the way.
He's in another world, isn't he?
Daniel Murphy?
Yes.
He looked like he was when the Phillies saw him the other day. Actually, he looked like he's in another world the entire year against the Phils. Here's Lucroy. Lucroy 3 for 7 in the series, and he takes a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1.
Now Lucroy is another very professional hitter, a very polished right-handed hitter. Tough out.
He has hit in 7 consecutive games. Talked about the fact that he probably will be dealt at some point, considering the Brewers are 14 games out of first place behind the Cubs, and they're trending toward a younger team. And he'll be 31 when his contract is up, but he would like to stay in Milwaukee, just as Ryan Braun would like to stay in Milwaukee. One contract, though, is easier to trade than the other, and it's Lucroy's. That one's out to center field. Odubel Herrera is on the run. He's under it, and he'll make the catch. Just, it looked like in on the hands for Lucroy. Well, there are 2 outs as Braun goes back to first.
I think so. It came off the bat fairly hot, but it just kind of died.
Might have been on the end a little.
Toward the end. It sounded like it wasn't on the sweet spot.
A little movement takes the, you know, puts the sting in the bat, I should say. It doesn't take the sting out of the bat. I'll tell you, this guy impresses me, Chris Carter. I know he's a high strikeout guy, and he's in amongst the league leaders in home runs right now. But one thing I really like about him is this guy knows how to soft swing it. And what I mean is that right there. It's almost kind of a Ryan Howard swing from the right side. No, he could swing 100%, 90%, 80%. He's going at that ball like 70, 75% effort, which I think is great. I think that's all you need to do as a hitter.
Has to be hard to convince yourself as a hitter to do it that way.
You got that right. How about when you hit a drive in golf?
You try to hit it as hard as you possibly can. I guess that's not the right way to do it. I got to write this stuff
down. You try to crush it, baby.
Yeah, you do. 1 ball, 1 strike to Chris Carter with Braun at first base. And 1-2, a 91-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside part of the plate.
I mentioned it when we were in Milwaukee, but Pat Murphy, the bench coach for the Brewers, his nickname for Chris is Sleepy.
That's a great trait to have as a hitter. It's almost like you could fall asleep up there. The opposite is hyper and overactive. This guy just ho-hum.
It was very frustrating for me as a hitter is when I would get a good pitch, a hanging breaking ball, hanging changeup, one in which you recognize right out of the hand, and therefore you think you can overswing at it. You swing too hard and you get jammed. That was frustrating. And it's like another times you'd get beat on a fastball and you just be quick to it and shoot it the other way for a knock. You're like, well, how did I do that? You're quick and easy. And then you get that hang. You're like, oh, watch how far I hit this one, and you end up jamming yourself.
One ball, 2 strikes to Carter. Runner goes. Pitch is dribbled right in front of the plate. Carlos Ruiz has it, and the side is retired. Brewers do strike first. They get the leadoff home run from Jonathan Villar. It's his second one of his career. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Milwaukee 1 and the Phillies coming up. They'll see Junior Guerra for the first time. Let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Herrera, Galvis, and Franco, followed by Tommy Joseph, Cody Ashe, and Tyler Goodell. In the bottom third, Cesar Hernandez at second base. Carlos Ruiz batting 8th, a spot he is familiar with. And batting 9th at pitching is Hellickson. And there is Guerra, the former catcher, who originally was a free agent signing by the Atlanta Braves in 2001. Was actually out of baseball, organized baseball, from 09 to 2014. But those are not pedestrian numbers right there. They're decent numbers.
They're very good, and it's nice to see a great story like that make his way back to the big leagues. 3-pitch pitcher, sit about 93, but the split change is really the pitch that sets him apart. He's got a very, very good one.
Well, he will face his Winter League teammate, his winter ball teammate in Venezuela, Odubel Herrera, who is 0 for 5 with 3 walks in this series.
So we have somebody close by that knows about being a catcher and then a pitcher.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wonder where he is. See, Ben, if you had come up with the split change, everything would have been fine.
Yeah.
at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. There is some truth, though. I mean, you were a catcher, and when you threw in the mid-90s. This guy has a pretty good heater.
Yeah. At some point, you're going to go behind the plate because of a strong arm. You see with his velocity.
Well, there's that changeup, and he hits it out to shortstop, and VR throws out Herrera. And 1 away here in the first. And Freddie Galvis is coming up.
That was the first one we saw. It's looks like it is a good pitch. That pitch there at 81 miles an hour has some sinking motion on it, much like Hector Neris's.
Very similar, yeah.
Jorge Velandia, who's a special assistant in the Phil's front office, is part of that winter ball team, or has been in past years. He said that the thing with Guerra is that split change. He said you have to get it up or just let it go by, because a lot of times it will be out of the strike zone, which is where he does get a lot of his strikeouts. Freddie Galvis did not play in last night's game. 0 for 3 in game 1. And he floats that one into shallow left field, and VR gets out and makes the catch. 2 outs here in the first. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Alana Lapp of Allentown, PA. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Alana will win $100.
Good luck, Alana.
Here's Maikel Franco. Franco does have a home run in this series. His at-bats have seemed better in this series. They're going to work him away to start it off, and instead it's down low, 95 on that fastball. Fly ball right center field. Well, this is going to be an easy first inning for Junior Guerra. It's a 7-pitch inning. He gets the Phillies in order. We've played one on to the second here in South Philadelphia. It's 1-0 Milwaukee. The Phillies begin a 2-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Both games are at 7:05 on Thursday, the 16th. MLB Network tote bag free to all fans coming to the ballpark. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Scooter Gennett will lead it off. Gennett is 2 for 7 in the series. Jeremy Hellickson delivers the first pitch. And it's a fastball at the knees at 89 miles an hour. Jeanette 227, 4 homers and 7 runs batted in. He's batted second the first 2 games of this series. Curveball hit out towards second base. Cesar Hernandez is up with it. Pretty good pitch to get him out front and get the out.
It's a good pitch for him for the simple fact that a lot of the hitters know they're usually going to go fastball changeup. That's the bottom line. He might mix in a few cutters, but the curveball is just another pitch you can show a hitter, much like the curveball that Cole Hamels would throw. Cole Hamels was predominantly fastball changeup. And they started mixing a few more hooks and get some swings at it.
Yeah, well, I believe most of the time the hitters get themselves out. Now, obviously, he has to throw the pitch, the change of speeds, and all that to allow the. In other words, he had a kind of a fastball approach at a curveball. Would you call it a good curveball? I wouldn't. It was hanging up right in the middle of the plate. Belt high, right? Yeah. However, it is a curveball, which means the possibility of him being a little out front is there. But I don't know that that isn't more bad hitting than it is good pitching. First of all, why swing at it?
Well, if you like, let's say if it was an accomplished hitter that swung at it, a guy that could square it up, would it go?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I made it 2,000 outs on that kind of a pitch. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking from experience. Scooter Jeanette, who was your 2-hole hitter, is now your 6-hole hitter.
Yes.
6-hole hitter because he's trying to pull that curveball right in the middle of the plate and rolling it over to the second baseman.
1-2 pitch to Santana's take it outside. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Santana's 1 for 4 with a double in this series. 5 for 15 against the Phillies this year. And it's low, 3-2. He'll be followed by Kirk Neuenhuis, who is starting his 3rd straight game. Walks him after getting ahead. So the first walk issued by Hellickson, who doesn't walk a lot of guys. That's just the 15th walk for him in 65 innings of work.
Yeah, it still has to be frustrating though to get ahead of a hitter like that, and as a hitter you're thinking, I just dodged a bullet. Got myself back into account and eventually walked.
Do pitchers still try to hit corners in 3-2 counts?
Yes.
I'll tell you, if they do, they're gonna walk one every now and then.
Yeah. Such a great point, though. Great point. Especially a guy with movement. Like Jeremy has good movement on his sinker. A couple times that happened, I just. You get fed up with it. You go out to the mound and say, I'm going to sit up down the middle.
Absolutely.
Throw it down the middle. Let the movement of your sinker get this guy out.
Right. You're the one who went to 3-2 with this dude after being 0-2. Now you got to throw it down the middle. I think that Brewers have a nice lineup, don't they?
I mean, there's certain pieces of it, yes. As it goes down toward the bottom.
A little heavy laden with right-handed hitters right there in the middle. Till you get to Jeanette, but I mean, it's a pretty good lineup.
Two balls and no strikes to Neuenhuis. Outside, 3-0.
Do you try to hit a corner 3-0?
No. Although he just did.
He did. Yeah, that's probably because he was aiming down the middle, right?
But that ball still had a ton of run on it, which is great if you're Jeremy Hellickson. You should use that. Trust it.
Yeah, I always equate a lot of things to golf. If you aim at that trap out there, you won't hit it.
I don't know. I seem to always hit it.
Well, why don't you always aim at the green? You don't always hit it?
No. 3 balls and 1 strike to do it, Heiss. And up and away, ball 4. So back-to-back walks. And that brings the pitcher up to the plate, who is 1 for 10 with 4 strikeouts so far.
I would think he would have some hitting savvy.
Well, the reason they moved him to being a pitcher is because he wasn't really that good of a hitter, though. But you can hit a little bit, Ben. You don't need to raise your hand.
Oh, that's a rip.
He raised his hand. Corners pinch in, and the ball is bunted in the air and back into the screen. So it's no balls and 1 strike.
What I liked about this is Bob McClure did not go out to the mound. Jeremy's more of a veteran guy. You know, despite only being 29, he's been in the league for a long time. He knows what he has to do out there. I don't have a problem with this at all.
Tommy Joseph is right in the
I like that.
front pocket of Guerra.
I love it, and I really like it because Santana at second base had a terrible secondary lead. Tommy comes in, gets that baseball, definitely going to have a play at third base. Now Santana out there at second base. I mean, he's not really. Look, he gets there, he stops. Why would you stop? You have to keep your momentum going.
He does bunt it foul, and he is down on strike. So 2 away with runners on first and second. And that'll bring VR to the plate, who began this game with a home run for the Brewers.
One of these at bats early in the game here. Be a little careful. This is a hot hitter.
Yeah, his 3-run home run the other night is what basically iced the game for the Brewers. Hey, let's face it, his 2-run home run iced the game too. The one down the left field line. He has been on base 49 of the 54 games he has played. He was the Brewers player of the month for the month of May offensively. He had 355. And a fastball for strike 1. It's 0-1. It's amazing. His last outing, he went 7 innings and he threw 79 pitches. He's already had 41 pitches here in the 2nd inning today.
The old backdoor curveball. Now that, to me, that was a good one. That was a little different than the ball that Jeanette rolled over to second base.
Ball and 2 strikes to VR. And a roller up the first base line. This may be a tough play. Joseph gets to it, and he's safe at first base. There just wasn't enough on that underhand toss, and VR, to his credit, was moving up the line. And the bases are now loaded for Aaron Hill.
Yeah, that's great hustle by everybody. It was a good play by everybody. Hellickson covered first. Nice. You see the replay right here. He got over. Ball just not quite hit hard enough, and great play by VR diving. I don't know,
it's pretty close.
Closer than you think.
I think if Jeremy is
wow.
a very good fielding pitcher, has won a Gold Glove. I think if he had to do it over again, he would have taken that himself.
If he, yeah,
pick the ball up and just run straight to the bag.
Or sprinted to the bag and played like a first baseman.
Yeah.
You know, got to the bag and then where he could stretch out a little bit.
Yeah, in essence, the Phillies did get a break because VR dove instead of running through the bag. It slowed him down a little bit. That ball's hit out towards center field. It's not deep. Here comes Odubel. He's under it, and the side is retired anyway. So no harm, just an extra pitch. No runs, 1 hit, and 3 men left. We'll move to the bottom of the second. Stay up to the moment at any moment with live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com @Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Along with Mike Schmidt, Ben Davis, Greg Murphy, I'm Tom McCarthy. We go to the bottom of the second here in South Philadelphia, where the Phillies trail at 1-0. Junior Guerra will face Tommy Joseph, Cody Ashe, and Tyler Goodell. Both of these players, Guerra and Tommy Joseph, are part of what makes baseball so great, makes sports so great. You know, neither one of these guys a couple years ago were thought to be major league prospects anymore. Tommy, because of the concussions, he was a catcher and one of the top catchers in minor league baseball for a long time, particularly when the Phillies acquired him from the Giants. And because of the concussions, he couldn't catch anymore and didn't really have a position, was taken off the 40-man. And Guerra, well, Guerra had been out of organized baseball from 2009 to 2014 as he learned how to pitch, basically, in all these different countries, in Spain, in Italy, in Venezuela, in Mexico. And now here both of them are in 2016 playing in a Major League Baseball game. And in reality, both of them are thriving.
Great story. Both of them chased their dream, wouldn't give it up.
Great perseverance.
Reinvented themselves. I believe in that.
A little low, and it's 3-1. Yeah, that's it. I mean, they basically reinvented themselves. Ben, you tried to do that, going from a catcher to a pitcher. I would think it's hard to try to reinvent yourself.
It is, but as long as you believe you can do it, go ahead and chase that dream.
Tommy Joseph hits it to straightaway center field. On the run is Neuenhuis. Back toward the wall. It is gone! Into the bushes. Home run number 4 for Tommy Joseph. And the Phillies have tied the ball game up at 1.
Work yourself into a good count. Get a 3-1 count. Don't try and do too much. If the ball's away, I'm not going to try and pull it. I'll go up top dead center.
I thought a big key there was laying off that low fastball, getting the call, getting the ball call.
So go down and get this baseball.
See, I love his approach. I always have. I always will. He's on balance.
don't know what Neuenhuis was trying to do there.
He was looking for some birds. Makes a winner out of Alana Lapp of Allentown, Pennsylvania in the McDonald's home run jackpot. She has just won $100.
Way to go, Alana.
That is now 10 home runs for Joseph. 4 here, 6 in the minor leagues. And it's also his 5th hit in this series. That was what they tried to do, is get him some action and see what would happen. Get him some swings.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that. What impresses me is, you know, they posted the idea that, all right, Ryan Howard is going to sit here for 3 or 4 games, so we want Tommy Joseph. Cody lifts a fly ball to center field. But we want Tommy Joseph to get, you know, to get some at bats and see what he can do. All the interest about Ryan Howard, you remember a couple days ago,
yeah,
and how he took it, and he wished Tommy Joseph well and all that. Very classy. But that, I'll tell you what, you as a hitter can put a ton of pressure on yourself if you think like, all right, this is my audition. Ryan Howard's sitting over there, and you know everybody wants him back. You know, wants to see. You know, don't want to lose Ryan Howard. You can try too hard, but I'm impressed that Tommy has gotten him a couple hits in last night's game, a home run tonight. He's hitting the ball. I mean, you know what I mean? He's been able to stay relaxed.
Such a great point. The footage that we saw of him in the Lehigh Valley, the swings that we saw, the swings we're seeing now are the same swings. He's not doing any, he's not changing his approach at all. He's hitting balls to right field, center field, which you just saw. He's pulling balls. His first homer went off the fair pole. I mean, this is, it's nice, and that's such a great point, Mike, about not putting that much pressure on yourself. Oh, you're giving me an opportunity. Well, I'll show you.
Right.
I'll show you what I can do.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. You know, you tighten it up, trying too hard. He's got a nice temperament about him, Tommy does.
Ball is low, 2-2 to Tyler Goodell.
His temperament is, you know, his personality is much like his poise in the batter's box. You know, he's a very easygoing guy.
Fly ball out toward left center field. Neuenhuis is out there. It's off the base of the wall. This is going to be a tough one. Tyler Goodell's already around second, going to third. He'll be held there. It's a triple for Tyler Goodell. That's normally the spot. If it hits there, it's going to roll along the warning track, and it could be an inside the park home run. But the Phillies will take the 3-base hit.
They will take it. It goes off the padding. I think if it went off the facade out there, off the cement, I think you might want to have seen that ball roll down. But this is talk about staying in the zone.
Boom. You see that level swing, how level it was through the ball. That's what gives you the carry. You know, that's what gives you the carry, the backspin on the ball. How about the speed?
Fast game.
So Tyler Goodell is at third. The Phillies have tied the game at 1 on the home run by Joseph, and now trying to take the lead with Cesar Hernandez at the plate. 0 for his last 10. And now time is called. Aaron Hill is now trying to get the rest of the infield to come in. Dirt with that off-speed pitch. It's 0-1.
Basically, the hitter in this position just has to take the rollover ground ball out of the at-bat, right? If you get jammed on the fastball, whatever, you just stay in the middle of the field, keep the ball out of the air. If the result's a sacrifice fly, that's fine.
Shows bunt, takes low, 2-0.
That one I don't understand. Unless it was supposed to be a safety squeeze.
I think that's what it was.
It's the little base hit right here. Get this RBI, do a world of good for Cesar.
Yes, it would.
And by the way, nothing wrong with a walk. Let the next guy do it. It'd do a world of good for Carlos to drive him in too.
Yes, it would.
Yes.
To end an 0 for 21 stretch. 3 balls, no strikes.
Tell you what, I'd have turned him loose 3-0 too. Why not give him a little RBI fastball right down the middle? but you get it 3-1 just as well.
In the air to center field. This will get the job done. Neuenhuis running back toward the wall and more into the bushes. A 2-run home run for Cesar Hernandez to straightaway center field. It's a 3-1 ball game.
It's a little ballpark.
What do you think? What is that? 401 out there?
Well, that'll do everybody a world of good.
I think great hitting. Great hitting. 3-1 count.
You hang it, I bang it.
Right, got them both in. But the thing I see right now, which is really, really good, is that they were down 1-0, and they're answering back with some runs. You know, they're not going 4, 5, 6 innings with putting zeros up there. Joseph's home run got him going. The triple, boom, another home run. They're riding the wave, riding yesterday's wave.
Look where these hits are going, too.
Straight away.
Straight away. Not trying to do too much, not getting out in front of balls.
Well, it's the first home run for Cesar since May 30th of last year. He has one of the longest droughts among active players in Major League Baseball that just came to a close with that home run. The longest drought was Emmanuel Burris, but he's been designated for assignment, so he's no longer on that list. The list includes a lot of pitchers. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. See his hands shaking as he was taking that water. Outside, 2-2 to Carlos.
Good take right there. Ooh, that was close.
Three and 2. Now this is part of what gives Carlos his charm of being in the 8th spot. He kind of understood this when he was the 8-hole hitter for so many years when the Phillies were winning divisions, because the pitcher's up next. 3-2 pitch to him, and he hits it the other way. He bloops it into right field, and Carlos ends an 0-for-21 stretch with a single the other way. It's like old home week, Merck, for Carlos Ruiz batting in the number 8 spots.
Yeah, you know what? You're right about that, Tom. You know, Carlos, sometimes you just want to get him into a place that he feels comfortable. You mentioned the 0-for-21, Pete Mackanin trying to find a spot, trying to get him going. And the 8th spot, it's a familiar spot. We haven't seen him so far this year in the 8-hole, but in his career, batted .248 there, 21 home runs. In fact, he has hit in the 8-hole more than any other spot in the lineup throughout his career. So Pete Mackanin trying to do what he can to get his other catcher going. He's got Cameron Rupp going at this point, but you need Carlos in there as well, able to get the base hit. Who knows? It could be the start of something good, guys.
All right. Well, let's see if Jeremy Hellickson can keep it going. It's the first thing I thought of today when I saw Carlos was batting 8th, is that ball was bunted up the first base line, and Carter tags him.
What a beautiful
Wow,
bunt.
yeah, these guys can execute some sacrifice bunts.
Go ahead and roll it out there.
By the way, I don't know how many hitters you could ask them. I can't name. One identify with the 8-hole, right? Yeah, I love hitting 8th. I feel relaxed there.
This is just perfect. This field is in such great shape. Everything stays so true. That was literally, could not have rolled it out there any better.
Double takes low. Pickoff play is on. The throw goes into center field, and Carlos will head to third. So Carlos is 90 feet away on the E1.
That changes the complexion of the situation.
Speed kills, Chooch. Not even in the vicinity.
Now the hitter's speed comes into play. Ground ball in the infield becomes an issue. Can't make an error. Score on a balk.
Wouldn't put it past him. Fouled at the plate, and it's 1-1. That ball got a piece of Jonathan Lucroy. 27 pitches this inning alone for Guerra.
Dubal's a very boisterous hitter, is he not?
Oh, he is. You have to have your hand on that on the crowd mic sometimes. To the right side, and Guerra is able to flag it down. And he touches first base ahead of Odubel Herrera. But the Phillies scored 3. They get 2 home runs. The first run from Tommy Joseph. That one to center field. You kind of expect that. How about Cesar Hernandez? It's been more than a year since his last home run. This one to center field. A 2-run shot. It's 3-1. Phillies on top. Costume visiting Children's Hospital here in Philadelphia. They played a game of Hangman, and every time there was an incorrect letter that was chosen, Jeremy had to dress up in the costume of the kid's choice. He was a great sport, signed some photos, also took some pictures with some of the youngsters. He made their day at Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. They do such great work at CHOP, and Jeremy's a likable guy. He's pretty mellow.
Very mellow.
Pretty even-keeled, and as we said, he's a pretty good sport for putting on all those costumes. Here's Ryan Braun, who takes inside. He started out as a rat with a feather boa and then finished as an angry bird. Looked like he was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle at one point, too. Ryan Braun single to the right side his first time up. Takes inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Larry Boa's getting on CB Buckner a bit.
Well, I hear you. I'd be yelling at him too. If they could see the monitor, they'd really be yelling at him.
Chopper softly left side. Freddie has to hurry. Braun is hustling, and he just gets him at first. Nice play all the way around. 1 away.
Very good play. He knows he's got to charge it as much as he can.
You know, Freddie has a great sense of timing as an infielder. You know, you can actually see. You know, it's a right-handed hitter for one. You can see how he gets out of the batter's box. If the pitch ties him up a little bit and he has to cross home plate, or if he runs across home plate when he swings at it. You can see that as a defensive player. Freddie knew he didn't have to barehand that ball. He knew he had plenty of time. A great sense of timing. Then we had a little good old-fashioned yelling at the umpire from the dugout. I haven't seen much of that this year. Yeah.
Game 1, Craig Counsell was upset on something the umpires did. It was
Aaron Hill.
It was a strikeout that he thought should have been a foul ball.
Oh yeah, that was game last night.
That was 2 nights. Thursday. I thought that was going to be the first argument we would see this year. We haven't seen any arguments this year.
No. I said the same thing. Counsell kind of went, oh man, and he just walked into the dugout, right?
Right.
I don't know what his recourse is, because it just doesn't seem like managers and umpires get into arguments anymore.
No, they all get along.
I said that to Larry yesterday in the office. I said, I miss managers not getting thrown out anymore. Of course, I got to witness it quite a few times with Lou.
There's no way that batter would have reacted like he did hadn't that ball hit his back.
Right.
And you could see it change directions, right, from the catcher's glove.
Yeah, after looking at the video, yeah. There's a liner out to right center field. That'll drop for Lucroy. So 1-out single. Time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans trivia question. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, guys, who are the 2 players ahead of Ryan Braun on the Brewers' all-time runs scored list? 2 players ahead of Ryan Braun on the all-time runs scored list. Answer will be revealed a little later on. Lucroy has an 8-game hitting streak now with that single to right field. And Carter fouls it. It's 0-1. Speed pitch, 0-2.
Another changeup down. The movement on that.
And he's the best at that. We got 2 catchers. We got 2 catchers that can flat block balls, can't they?
When Chooch does it, the ball doesn't go anywhere. It's hard to tell yourself to exhale, because if you tighten up, the ball's going to ricochet.
It's like hitting a sponge or something.
And then he gets to his feet so quickly, it just goes right out in front of him.
Swing and a miss. He got it with a high fastball. Strikeout number 2 for Jeremy Hellickson. And with 2 outs, Scooter Jeanette's coming up.
Jeremy really is a guy that can throw to the 4 different quadrants. There you see him go up top. North, south, east, and west. He can do it to righties and lefties, both sides of the plate, up and down. It's not just about hitting corners. You also have to change eye level. And sometimes you have to throw balls in the northern quadrants.
Scooter Jeanette is grounded out to second. Out front of a breaking ball, and it's 0-1.
Well, my buddy here's tapping me on the shoulder saying, why? I think why are you swinging?
Yeah. I mean, are you looking for a first pitch breaking ball there?
Why?
The game's so easy up here, isn't it?
Well, maybe it looks like a heater right down the middle out of his hand. I don't know. I'm up here where it looks pretty easy, like you say. Well, my whole theory was spit on anything off speed until you get 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Unless you just can't you can't help yourself from swinging at it. I think that's one of the issues, one of the problems with the hitting nowadays. I think hitters think they can hit everything.
Runner goes. 0-2 is in the dirt, and Ruiz can't get a grip on it. So a stolen base for Lucroy, his second of the year.
I don't think Cheech is going to be able to do anything anyway. Ball in the dirt. Lucroy had a tremendous jump. I mean, he has a good jump, and Jeremy with a very high leg kick.
So now if you're a hitter right now, you're going, that was just a showpiece fastball, right? So I'm looking for that off-speed pitch right now, and I'm going to smoke it.
Yep. I'm getting beat by a heater. If he throws another heater, I'm getting beat by it.
Not swinging at it's a tough thing.
Over to first base, Tommy Joseph will scoop it up. And Jeanette is retired. He does get something soft to finish up the third. No runs, one hit, one man left in scoring position. Middle of the third. It's 3-1 Phillies. By your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Heard of your local Del Val Honda dealer. Visit DelValHondaDealers.com. By Jefferson. Call 800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery's new instant game, $100,000 home makeover. Players must be 18 or over. Please play responsibly. Bottom of the third, 3-1 Phillies on top. Freddie Galvis will lead it off. It'll be Galvis, Franco, and Tommy Joseph. Galvis popped out to shortstop his first time up. So he's 0 for 1. Phillies scored all 3 runs in the second, and for the first time this year, they hit multi-home runs in one inning. Had a play toward the sweet level. Oof. Freddie is 0 for his last 12. It just seemed like a week ago we were talking about how his swings have gotten better and he looks comfortable at the plate. But he's cooled off as it's 0-2.
Well, that had some movement on it.
Well, that was the changeup. Now it's a split change. Right. He doesn't throw it the same way as Hector Neris, which is more of a fork ball. His is more of a split finger. It's not as deep. The ball's not held as deep into the V of his fingers. Hector's is like an old school fork ball almost.
Who had one of the better fork balls or splits that you ever faced, Mike?
Well, it would have to be Bruce Sutter, who many might say invented it.
Right.
Ball's lined and caught by Chris Carter.
Bruce Sutter didn't have a 94-mile-an-hour heater that you had to worry about like Maris. Freddie squared that line drive up pretty good with 2 strikes right there too. That's a good sign.
Yeah. Mike Scott throw a good splitter like a fork ball.
Well,
You could say it.
you're right. Yeah. Mike Scott had a good one, but you know, it's funny. His name didn't jump in my mind when you said that. Didn't Roger Craig and the Giants back in the day, wasn't that a big pitch for them?
Because he threw it, Craig did, toward the end of his career and taught it to all of the pitchers that he coached.
Tim Hudson always had a good one, and Hideo Nomo, he could have told me it was coming and I wouldn't.
Kind of like right there.
And Nomo had that one where I would always look for it, and then he'd throw me a cookie fastball at 90 right down the middle, and I'd take it because I was looking for something else.
Got us a fastball, Ben.
I know.
1 ball, 1 strike to Franco. At the knees, and it's 1-2, 95. Franco flied out to right field his first time up. That wrapped up the bottom of the first inning for the Phillies.
It's a good take. You can tell when a guy's swinging good when he's confident. He doesn't even offer at something like that. And when you're jumping at the ball and you're over anxious, you start everything too early and you check swing. Next thing you know, that pitch there gets a check swing and you strike out. Confidence in your hands, confidence in your quickness.
Foul tip, and Franco is down on strikes. That's the first strikeout for Junior Guerra. Well, last night when we got off the air, we had heard the news that a Muhammad Ali had passed away at the age of 74. He had complications due to Parkinson's disease, respiratory complications. He did so much during his life, set aside being the heavyweight champion of the world for so long, but so much for civil rights and making sure that his point was put across. And he had an impact here in Philadelphia, if only because of the fights with Joe Frazier, also with the different houses that he had in this area as well. As Tommy Joseph takes one inside, 1 ball and no strikes after homering his last time up. Home run estimated to go 425. This one is fouled off. But Muhammad Ali, I mean, Mike, you were in his company once or twice during your career.
Yes, I was. A night I'll never forget in my life, Philadelphia Sports Writers Banquet. I was in the prime seat in the house at that banquet, sitting next to. I can't remember whether it would have been Cassius Clay.
It was Muhammad Ali by then. Yeah,
Muhammad Ali then. Yeah, I shook his hand and I went, "Oh my God, look at the size of this hand." And you can imagine.
You got big hands.
No, not really, but you can imagine Muhammad Ali's hands, right? They are exactly how you imagine them, believe me. And just, gosh, what a big man. And I was so flattered that he knew of me and about me. Living in Cherry Hill. I think at the time, was he not living in Cherry Hill?
He did have a place in Cherry Hill,
the Poconos.
Yep.
And I like everybody else. I'm a little older than you guys, but his career and my life kind of went during the same period of time. He's born in 42, died this year, so he's 7 years older than me. But quite a life, quite an impressive life.
There's a lot of stories, a lot of tributes to him today. Many in the local papers, which were outstanding, and the papers in New Jersey as well. There was one point where people said that Nelson Mandela had a photo of Muhammad Ali on his desk at all times because he felt like he was such an inspiration.
Wow.
We go to the 4th. The Phillies on top, 3-1. quality, and their Jet Intelligent toner cartridges print up to 1/3 more pages. Get yours from who but WB Mason today and experience the difference. Nobody beats WB on HP. Phillies lead it 3-1. We move to the top of the 4th inning. A warm afternoon. It's been a nice day here in the Delaware Valley. And the first pitch to Domingo Santana is bounced foul into the seats over the third base dugout. Santana walked his first time up. On the inside corner, it's 0-2.
See, Larry.
I was going to say Larry Bo's
opened that strike zone a little bit.
Larry Bo's in the dugout saying, "Yeah, that's a strike. That's what I'm talking about."
Yeah. It's amazing how Hellickson's windup mirrors
Martinez. What's
Pedro?
No. Dennis Martinez. Yeah.
El Presidente?
Yeah. There I go again. I knew the last name. I couldn't think of the first name.
Talk about a big curveball.
You know how he right there, how he kind of tucks that leg down a little bit.
That ball is hit out toward left center. It'll drop in front of Cody Ashley for a base hit. So leadoff single for Santana. Father's Day is right around the corner in Major League Baseball again, putting dads and prostate cancer in the forefront. And for more on that, here's Greg Murphy.
Yeah, Tom, as the calendar turns to June, Major League Baseball always doing their part and looking forward towards Father's Day and prostate cancer awareness. And we're very happy to welcome in Joe Torre and Michael Milken, who have traveled all over the country over the last decade or so to kind of raise awareness. And Joe, we'll start with you because this is ballpark number 3 as you get this month started. But it's all going to culminate with Father's Day and a lot of money being raised for research.
Well, we hope so. I mean, I was diagnosed, Greg, in '99, and you know, one of the first calls I got was from Michael Milken to sort of shed a little clarity on what I was going through, and I'm forever thankful, not only for the fact that he made the phone call, but for the fact that he's created this home run challenge to raise a great deal of awareness, great deal of money, a great deal of research coming from that, and you know, since I was diagnosed, the death rate has been reduced by 50%.
It is really remarkable when you think about the last decade, Michael, and all of the the Prostate Cancer Research Foundation and all the work that you guys have done, because the numbers are, as Joe just mentioned, that they are dramatically reduced, and you guys are doing good work. Tell us what Major League Baseball's part is in all of this over the course of the next couple of weeks.
We want to start with the Phillies, who've done a fantastic job. So we've raised 45 million from home runs, and Phillies warmed up yesterday, first game of the year with 2. They've already got 2 home runs. Many people thought they were lagging back, but it's always around Father's Day. So what can you do with Major League Baseball? HomeRunChallenge.org. Send in a 1 to 2 paragraph write-up of your first game that you went to, your first ball game. Winners get to go to the All-Star Game or the World Series on behalf of Major League Baseball. The second competition is your favorite home run trot. You can go out and run the bases. Greg told us he's never hit a home run, but we can pretend, or just get one from the major leagues of someone that has your favorite trot. Both of those could send you to the All-Star Game or the World Series. HomeRunChallenge.org.
Yeah, and, well, fans in Philadelphia know I never hit a home run. Believe me, they've talked about it at length on the broadcast. But, Joe, let me bring it back to you. When you think about, you know, we're wearing the wristbands, we have the ribbons, the light blue, the new uniforms this year that are going to be worn on Father's Day. The awareness is really probably at an all-time high. I think that's a fair statement to say. But why is that so important? Why raising the awareness is it so important?
Well, raising the awareness, I know in a man's case, it's a very personal problem that they don't want to share, and sometimes, unfortunately, don't want to deal with. So, you know, to me, you raise the awareness, you make it okay to get checked. It's necessary to get checked. You know, I've had young 10-year-olds when I was doing this, when I was with the Yankees, I'd hear stories about 10-year-old boys going to their dads. His dad said, "Dad, Joe Torre said to get checked." You know, a father can't turn that down when his son goes up to him and asks him to take care of himself. So it's something, especially now with all the research, with the new treatments that they have, Greg, that it's not a death sentence. You know, I thought initially when I was diagnosed that that's what I was looking at, but that was 17 years ago.
Well, gentlemen, on behalf of the Phillies organization, all the great work you guys do, thank you so much. Thanks for being here today. And Michael, you said that from June 13th to June 19th, all the home runs, that's what the numbers are going to add up. But this counts too, because you guys are here.
That's correct, and that's why the Phillies have already hit 2.
See that? We're already ahead of everybody else, guys. We're doing our part. Gotta love it. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Back to the booth, guys.
All right, Murph, we appreciate that. Always nice to see Joe Torre. Boy, he was one heck of a player and a great manager. Bet he was your manager for a short period of time.
Spring training. I spent 2 springs with Joe.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Kirk Nieuwenhuis, who walked his last time. Domingo Santana singled and was nearly picked off first.
I would venture a guess he hit somewhere like 360, 363, something like that. The year he won the MVP as a catcher, right-handed hitting catcher. That's pretty impressive.
And then moved to third base as his career progressed.
I know Carl might want to check that to guess at 363, but I know it was a crazy number for a right-handed hitter.
And he's one of those oddities in baseball where he was a very good player and he turned out to be a very good manager with all the world championships that he won with the Yankees.
And a very important executive now.
Yep.
363, right on the money.
Was it?
137 RBIs. 230 hits.
Now think about that. That's a right-handed hitting catcher with no speed.
He caught 161 games.
Buster Posey's probably the closest thing we've seen to that.
Had 704 at bats. Plate appearances, I mean.
Take a walk every. Oh, okay. Plate appearances.
That's a man there, boy.
707.
Outside, 3-2 to Nieuwenhuis. He tried to get the outer edge of the plate.
Probably made 60, 70,000.
What year was that?
71.
Seems like Nieuwenhuis has been up there for a half hour.
That old pitch count's going up, isn't it? 71 pitches, top of the 4th.
A high ball 4, so that'll put runners on first and second with nobody out in this 2-run game. Catch an interview with Temple football coach Matt Rule, plus Doug Peterson comments on the final week of Eagles OTAs. Watch a special Phillies Sports Talk, the Rewind edition, following Phillies postgame live today, right here on CSN. Well, for Nieuwenhuis, that was a 9-pitch at bat. Part of the reason why Hellickson's pitch count has popped up. 23, 21 in the first 2. Now 13 without an out here in the 4th.
You spend an awful lot of time worrying about Santana at first base. You get the 3-1 lead. Yeah, home run could tie up, but I'm going to be worried about the guy at home plate.
Guerra struck out trying to bunt his first time up, and he shows bunt and then pulls it back.
I mean, there's a reason he's in the 8-hole.
One ball, no strikes to Guerra. And he bunts it in the air past Jeremy Hellickson. They'll still get the out at first. And the sacrifice is successful.
That's a good play. Hellickson reacted very well to that ball that got by him. Very easily could have turned into an infield single. But he did the job. But we got the out. That's the important thing. Now we got an issue of their best hitter right here, or the very tough hitter right now. He's 2 for 2 in the game.
That was a tough play. He made it look relatively easy.
So many things could have happened on that. It could have been turned out to be an infield hit, but the guy at third could have easily come home if it kept on going.
Exactly, and a lot of pitchers will panic in that situation, not have a sense of timing, like we talked about earlier in the game with Freddie, and he's got a nice sense of timing as a defensive player as well.
VR takes a changeup upstairs. It's 1-0. Bouncer foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. VR is 2 for 2. He's got a home run and an infield hit. A little slow roller over toward Tommy Joseph, and he beat the toss out across the first base bag. Inside, 2-1. Well, maybe he'll try to get him with the backdoor breaking ball or the changeup here to get him to ground one.
Well, I think he's trying like heck to pitch around him, but I don't think VR wants to let him pitch around him.
He's an aggressive hitter.
I guess also this is a time where you can let the score work in your advantage. You know, you have a 3-1 lead. I guess there's no reason not to make this guy hit the ball.
A little low, and it's 3-2. He doesn't have the same command today of the changeup that he had in the game against the Nationals when he went 7 innings and threw 79 pitches. He's at 79 with nobody out, or with 1 man down here in the 4th. With 5 full counts. There's leadoff. And there's a looper out toward right field, and it's going to drop in front of Goodell. 1 run will score. And the runner holds at third, so it's a 3-2 ball game. And VR is 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs.
In the 4th inning.
Yeah, 5 runs may not do it today for the combined total.
Gets that changeup down. Good piece of hitting.
Good 2-strike hitting, you know, not didn't roll it over, just kind of stuck the bat out, knew if he put it in play to the outfield, a run would score.
Bob McClure heading out to the mound. Well, they still have the lead. If they can maybe roll a double play here, they can leave with a 3-2 advantage going to the bottom of the 4th. For VR, it's his 7th 3-hit game of his of the season. The 13th of his career. Boy, he's really evolved with these Brewers.
Mike, I'm with you. I'm a big fan. He's obviously loved to see that long ball, but he beat with his legs his last time up. He's shown a very good glove at shortstop. Complete ball player.
Well, Hill is 0 for 2. He's grounded to shortstop. He's also flied to center field. Only 1 out here in the top of the 4th. The tying runs at third. Swing and a miss. 0-1.
Definitely have a good combination here with Hellickson, his movement on his fastball, his changeup, his curveball. Right-handed hitter. Good double play opportunity.
And a toss over to first. And just back is VR.
Tommy Joseph not signaling to get on the phone Larry, so he must have got back in. Boy, I tell you, I don't know how he got back in last night on that one. Was it last night he had that real close
first
one?
night? Yeah, the first night. Had a lot of close plays.
Yeah, that was easy.
I think his hand was in there. That's what Joseph saw. Runner goes from first, pitches inside. Ruiz's throw to second base is not in time.
That was a good jump right there.
It was.
Whew. I could see him out of the corner of my eye, and he was off and running.
It's his 20th stolen base of the year.
That's a very, very good jump. Even with the slide step, it's not an easy pitch to throw in a ball in with a righty up. He can scoot.
Evened up 2-2. So Jeremy trying to get this out here, and then he'll deal with Ryan Braun. It's a tough spot in the Brewers lineup. He's thrown 25 pitches in this inning. The walks have hurt him today. He's issued 3 walks in the ball game. Swing and a miss. He got it with the off-speed pitch. Third strikeout for Hellickson. Boy, that's a big one right there.
Now what do you do?
Well, do you deal with Braun or Lucroy? Pick your poison.
It really is pick your poison right now, but there's that changeup. It's a ball, but Aaron Hill goes after it.
I'll tell you, my gut tells me you're doing nothing wrong if you walk Braun right here. And I'm just
and then face Lucroy.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
They both have a hit today.
Guy's hitting 350.
He's 1 for 2 today. Inside 1-0.
Must have a bad angle up here. That sure looked like a good pitch to me.
TV Buckner said before, Mike, they're in. Ground ball back to the mound. Hellickson's got it, and the Phillies maintain the lead. Jeremy's reaction as he threw that ball. 1-3 on the putout. 1 run scores. 2 runners left in scoring position. We move to the bottom of the 4th, and it's 3-2 Phils. Visit buyatoyota.com to find your RAV4 today. Toyota, let's go places. Let's go Phils. Bottom of the 4th inning, 3-2. Phillies on top. It'll be Cody Ashley, Tyler Goodell, Cesar Hernandez to lead things off. Cody flied out to center field. He's 0 for 6 so far. This is still kind of like his spring training as he tries to figure out his swing. Coming back from the oblique injury.
Come on, Cody!
Two balls and no strikes. I mentioned that Guerra has pitched all over the country, all over the world, I should say. He has pitched in Italy, in the Italy Professional Baseball League. There are 8 teams in that league, and he is one of 3 who has pitched in the big leagues and in that league. He gives up an extra base hit to the base of the wall for Cody Ashley, and Ashley will pull into second with a leadoff double. This is the second ball that Cody's hit since he's come back that's taken off like that. The other one Ryan Braun caught.
Ball's hit just as good as any of the home runs we've seen so far in this game. Just didn't have the right trajectory. Smoked right to the 398 mark in center field. 2-0 fastball.
Stays down on it and drives it. Good extension. But that got out there in a hurry.
And now Goodell, who tripled his last time up. That triple for Goodell is 3rd. He has more triples than he does doubles. Same amount of triples as he has home runs with 3. And he takes on the inside corner. It's 0-1.
This guy can get a runner over with that stroke he's got. I mean, he can shoot the ball the other way.
It's designed for that. Yep. Maybe even get him in. Down the right field line.
Got him over.
Santana is getting under it. Cody Ashley will tag and won't go. Santana does have a good arm, and he let that one go pretty good. One away, and here's Cesar Hernandez, who homered his last time up. And here it is.
I really think this is a situation where a hitter knew what the pitcher was going to try and do. 1 out. The right-handed hitter behind him, not fleet of foot, no offense, Chooch, but he got a 3-1 count, got a changeup up, and drove it out to center field.
550 plate appearances since his last home run. All right, now in retrospect, was there any way that Cody could have gone to 3rd on that?
From my perspective up here, absolutely. Maybe a close play. I don't know how good an arm this guy's got, but his momentum's not carrying him toward 3rd base. It's kind of carrying him toward the chalk line, and he's got to throw a perfect strike from 3/4 of the way out in right field, right to 3rd base.
As it turned out, he did throw a ball on the line to VR, but it wasn't a strike. It was actually heading toward the left field line, and VR cut it off. 1-0 to Cesar Hernandez.
I think 3-2 lead. You got to let it all hang out, man. You know, I mean, it's not a cut and dried. You go on the aggressive side, right?
I guess that's what I was getting at. Do you go on the aggressive
side?
side?
I would not have hung out and then going back to tag up. I would have tagged up right from the get-go and said, let's. I'm ready to slide into 3rd base, baby. Now, no reflection on Cody. I wasn't watching. Maybe Juan Samuel was making that call.
Well, here's the current longest streaks without a home run. There, see pitchers on there. Johnny Cueto. Emmanuel Burris was on that list. Michael Bourne is playing for Arizona. It tops the list. Ichiro at 435. Outside, 3-2. Ruiz is on deck. To the right side, off the glove of Guerra, but it doesn't deflect enough, or does it? And Cesar is out at first base. Mickey Morandini just signaled that he thought he was out.
And he can run.
See where he steps on this bag.
He is out.
Yeah.
Or maybe he stepped on the top in the middle of the bag, but no, he got it in a good spot. It was close.
Carter wasn't in the best position to catch that
He
ball
was
from
not.
the second baseman either.
It's a 1-4-3 put out, and now Ruiz was the hitter. Carlos fouls it back to the Hall of Fame club.
The whole stadium's watching you want a foul ball, I guess, around here, huh?
Well, that last one, look at how many deflections took place here. 1, 2, same guy, 3, 4, 5,
that's
6.
That's called panicking right there when you got one bouncing around.
Like a Plinko chip.
Carlos sends another one to nearly the same spot, and the guy that initially hit it gets it back this time.
That's some testosterone right there, baby. Huh?
That poor gentleman with the sunglasses on top of his head is still waiting. He had it 3 times.
I wouldn't wear sleeves if I were that guy either.
Yeah, but would you wear a turtleneck in the middle of a heat wave?
Of course I would.
Yes, you would. Upstairs, 1-2. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Washington leads Cincinnati 2-1. Anthony Rendon, a 2-run home run. Washington lost last night to the Reds. Their lead against the Mets is 2 games in the East. 4 games against Miami and 6 games against the Phillies.
Did you guys comment on that San Diego-Seattle comeback game?
That was something. We did not comment on
Seattle's comeback?
12-2, was it not? And then they
It
lost.
was.
How about their bench and how rowdy they were when that whole thing was going on?
And that is one tiny dugout in San Diego, the visiting dugout. And get rowdy.
Carlos takes in 2-2.
Well, that's a good take. You take that inside fastball like that, just standing there, inside.
Nice play.
Freddie Galvis on the top step there doing a little third base coaching.
Yeah, he's been hanging there.
How about that throw?
Yeah, he told me it was like Oscar Gamble. I said, I can't believe you know who Oscar Gamble is.
Someone told him that.
It's not as nice as mine was there with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, yours was impressive. Yours was natural, though. I don't know if Freddie's is. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Ruiz. Runner at third, fills up by 1. And ball 4. So Hellickson will bat with runners on first and second.
What an at bat.
First and third, I should say.
Yeah, another 0-2 at bat. First at bat with a single. This at bat started off 0-2 as well.
Derek Johnson coming out to talk to his right-hander. A reminder that the Xfinity fireworks shows will take place following the Friday, July 1st game against the Royals and the Saturday, July 2nd game. It's all part of a 3-game series between the Phils and the Kansas City Royals. The tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com.
I'll be here for that one.
You going to stay for the fireworks?
Probably not.
Derek Johnson.
My driver has to be home by 9.
He does. He is young. Yes, he needs to be in before 10 o'clock. All right, so let's see if Jeremy Hellickson can get a base hit here or keep this inning alive. He is a good hitter for a pitcher. Sacrificed his last time up, rolled one up the first base line.
That's a great at bat. Carlos put in it. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but in the course of the game, you clear the pitcher.
Yeah.
If Hellickson does make an out, we have Odubel leading off. The 5th, which is good. Hellickson's a good hitter.
On the year 154, just 2 for 13. He's been bunting a lot lately.
We have a very good hitting starting pitching staff.
Got some good athletes. Eichhoff can hit. Velasquez, when he gets it, can hit it. Swing and a miss. 0-2 to Hellickson.
Going for the downs there.
That's
He sure
okay.
was.
You know, get your hacks, right?
Why not?
Lays off 2-2.
That's good peeping for a pitcher. Wow. It's always been a pet peeve of mine why starting pitchers don't get more hitting coaching and more hitting practice.
Well, the starters, they do hit every day after they're bunting.
A lot of times it's not even the hitting coach that's their coach. I know Pete, when Pete was on Charlie's staff, Pete was actually in charge of the pitchers and their hitting, even though the Phillies had a hitting coach. So he would take care of the bunting part of it, and he would make sure that he kept tabs on their hitting.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about our hitters this year. I think we have a good crop of hitting pitchers this year, whatever they're doing. But as a rule, I would think that I have seen so many times in my career where good pitchers that are good hitters can make a big difference. Carlton was a great hitter.
Lefty, I mean LC.
Pretty good,
Yeah.
Randy Lurch. 2 home runs in a game in Pittsburgh. 78 or 9, I can win at the end of the year. It's a heck of an at-bat going on here.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Hellickson. Swing and a miss. He got him with a fastball, and that'll wrap up the 4th inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left for the Phillies. We've completed 4. We'll head to the 5th. It's 3-2. Phil's on top. tickets here at Citizens Bank Park are going fast. The Bruce Springsteen concerts, the first show is sold out, but tickets are still available for the second show on Friday, September 9th, and can be purchased by going to Phillies.com/Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band bringing the River Tour to Citizens Bank Park this September. You can also call 215-463-1000. Man is busy, that Bruce Springsteen. I don't know how he does it. Performing shows all the time at his age. We move to the top of the 5th inning. Jeremy Hellickson will be the batter.
You think that's harder than being Bernie Sanders?
Well, that's a good question.
About that.
But Bernie, I'm not saying that his run will end eventually. Springsteen's run doesn't seem to end. It just keeps on going.
That's what I can't figure out, how those guys can travel all over the country and 4 speeches a day. Whew. Amazing.
Here's Lucroy. Lucroy leads it off at the top of the 5th inning. Had a pitch inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Lucroy today is 1 for 2. He's flied to center. He's also singled. Good off-speed pitch, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Eight-game hitting streak for Jonathan Lucroy, who is now 7 for 17 this year against the Phillies.
I know it took a while for Jeremy to get out of that jam last inning, but to get out of that with just the 1 run is pretty darn good.
And the thought is here is to try to get him through at least this 5th inning. The Phillies bullpen last night did a fantastic job picking up for Velasquez. Andrew Bailey went an inning and 2/3 scoreless. David Hernandez allowed 1 run, but then Hector Neris and Genmar Gomez combined to finish off the ball game. Three and 2.
I think the catchers ever get the benefit of the doubt from umpires, since they sit there and they chat with them the whole game?
I never thought I did.
That ball is a bullet down the left field line. It is fair. It's off the top of the wall. Boy, that looked like it hit to the left of that line. Lucroy's on his way to 3rd, and he's going to get there with a stand-up triple. Well, I think it's worth a look if you're the Phillies, just to make sure. It's awfully close, and Manny Gonzalez, the 3rd base umpire, was right down the line and looked at it. Yeah, looks like he got it right. Yep.
Boom.
Ooh, right on the line.
Well, that ball was smoked.
Yes, it was. You know, and it hit that railing, and that enabled it to shoot with some velocity along the warning track. 3rd triple for Lucroy this year.
Here's where the Phillies are trading out for a run. Watch the infield, or take a look at the infield. Playing back, conceding the run.
Can't say that I've seen a ball hit there.
I was just thinking the same thing. Particularly that spot. I mean, that was right on the line. Heck, it was almost a home run.
That's what I thought. The ball was going to get out. I just wasn't sure if it was going to be fair or foul.
Two balls and no strikes to Chris Carter. Watch it again. See, it hit just above that padding on that yellow line, saying it's fair, but it's not a home run. It's not high enough to be a home run.
Wow, Hellickson is really pitching inside today. Brewers have 3 players, right? The 3, 4, 5 hitters, all close to 30 RBIs.
Yes, Carter 33, Lucroy 28, Ryan Braun 33.
Pretty strong right there.
Out to right center field. That'll be deep enough to get the run home. At least it seems that way. Goodell makes the catch. He'll let the throw go. It's offline, and we are tied up at 3 here in the top of the 5th inning. 29, or excuse me, 34 RBIs now for Carter.
That's just good, darn good hitting right there. Hellickson worked him over, pitched hard inside, 3 fastballs, got one for a strike, the 4th fastball, and he fought that last one off to center field. RBI. You don't leave him out there.
Now Scooter Gennett, who's 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Once to second, once to first.
One of the first cutters we've seen out of Jeremy today.
Yeah, I thought his cutter was pretty good the other day against the Nationals.
Yeah. This pitch at 85. See, it's just, you don't need a lot of movement there. It was late movement. Just get in on the hands of Scooter.
He did it again.
Yeah.
You got to use all 5 fingers with Hellickson or what?
No,
huh?
He just 4 pitches.
Colton Murray's been throwing in the pen. He's been feeding Scooter Gennett off-speed pitches all afternoon.
I'd be surprised if he threw that curveball again.
Got him. He snuck a fastball right on by him.
Chooch put 2 down twice, and Jeremy shook both times and threw the heater away.
Well, that's 4 strikeouts for Hellickson.
Tell you, this is what you call a veteran pitching job right here. Hellickson having to throw a lot of pitches. They put a lot of tough at-bats on him. He's given up 3 runs, got out of a couple of jams, and I know Pete would like to get him through the 5th inning. You know what I mean? He needs to get
Absolutely.
He might give him 2 more hitters or 1, but I know he wants to get him through that 5th inning. So if we get a run in the bottom, he might have a shot at a win.
Santana's 1 for 1 with a walk. He scored his last time he got on base.
Make a play.
side, 2-2.
I don't know how Chooch just did that.
I'm just going to say,
I don't know.
In the old days, I don't know how far back I'm going, maybe when I played, catchers used to wave at that ball, didn't they?
Yeah.
With nobody on base.
Two strikes you have to block it. But he threw his leg out there like the old Tony Pena and still blocked it. I've never seen that done before.
Over to third base, big hop for Maikel Franco, and the inning is over. But the Brewers tie it up. They get a sac fly after the triple by Jonathan Lucroy. We've played 4.5 on to the bottom of the 5th. We're tied up at 3. Bank Park. Brewers just tied it up in their half of the 5th inning. Hellickson, when he went off after the top of the 5th inning, he was definitely upset with the home plate umpire, CB Buckner. He said something to CB as he walked off, but he was still, there he is right there, as he tosses his gum aside. Jeremy doesn't say a whole lot. He was trying to get the inside part of the plate a number of times during the course of the game.
CB said, throw the ball over the plate.
Well, they want more offense. But it started in the 2nd inning when the dugout was barking at him. So now we go to the bottom of the 5th. We're tied up at 3. And Odubel bunts it foul. And it's no balls and 1 strike.
How come lefties don't bring bunts with them anymore? You never see the old drag bunt.
But without knowing exactly, I think they feel like if I can get it farther away from the first base bag, I got a better chance of running away from it.
He got a nice pitch to bunt right there. I mean, he was heading to first when he made contact. Just bunted it foul.
Off the end of the bat, and it's 0-2.
I know Odubel's speed, and I see where Scooter Gennett is playing. If you get it out there, just past the pitcher in that Bermuda Triangle, he's going to beat it out.
Back toward the middle, off the mound, spinning towards second. VR is up with it, and Odubel is thrown out.
Yeah, we needed that ball to hit the second base bag.
Yeah,
nice play by VR. He can make those tough plays. Look, he's got an arm. Wow.
Well, speaking of arms, we take a look at our Citizens Bank minor league report. Edubre Ramos is the pitcher of the month for the Phils. 12 games, 16 strikeouts during his time. Dylan Cousins had a fantastic month. Average was at .289, but 9 home runs and 26 runs batted in. And Carlos Tucci is the defensive player of the month from the Clearwater Threshers. Freddie Galvis takes on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Pete was talking about Cousins a little bit yesterday. Obviously, everybody's keeping an eye on what he's doing in Double-A, the power he's putting up there.
It's really hard to look past those numbers.
15 home runs overall for Cousins. To the right side, Jeanette sizes it up. 2 outs.
Freddie hit a line drive last time up. Almost a base hit there. I think he needs to change that black shirt to a blue one or red one. Maybe it's his lucky undershirt.
Well, it hasn't produced a lot of luck. He's 0 for his last 14. Michael Franco 0 for 2. And a swing and a miss at the first pitch. This kid has been as advertised. You know, we were told he's not afraid to throw his fastball, but he's also got an above average changeup, and he has proven it today. His last outing against the Cubs, he allowed 4 runs and 6 1/3. He wound up losing that ball game 6-0. 4 runs, 3 earned. He has 2 scoreless outings, and there it is. Fastball 61% of the time. He's actually thrown the curveball more than the split today.
He's got a lot of giddy up today too.
That's one of those that can get up in your neck, isn't it?
Yes. If you don't tuck that chin. It did happen to me.
Ooh.
Right off the shoulder. He doesn't wear the shoulder flap either. So get you 10 yards in football. Intentional grounding. Happened to me Idaho Falls my rookie year. I didn't tuck my chin. The ball hit my throat. I finished. It was like 1 pitch. I went in the dugout and passed out. Literally passed out.
For how long?
I was done for the game. Yeah, I just trainer didn't want to put me back in.
In the dirt. You can see the spot just inside the grass where the ball hit that we showed you a moment ago.
I know Jeremy Hellickson's sitting in there still hoping for a
long
run. He's got a good shot at one right now.
Look at that right there.
That's amazing
That's
where
a
that
big
ball
spot.
bounced. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Franco. Inside, ball 4, and the Phils get a base runner. Tommy Joseph is coming up. Joseph's homer today. He's also struck out.
Good at bat by Bronco, going from 0-2 to a base on balls.
Odubel Herrera was a Rule 5 pick just a season ago. He talks about why he's so grateful to the Phils for giving him a chance on an all-new Phillies clubhouse Monday at 11 right here on CSN.
You have 2 outs. You have a guy that flew out soft fly ball to right, and you blew a heater by him as second at bat, and you throw him 3 straight splits in the dirt after you blew him away last bat. Now you have a guy up, and you walk him. Now you have a guy up that took you deep his first at bat, and you throw 95.
Well, here is that home run that you talked about back in the second.
3-1 cookie. And Tommy Joseph did not miss it. Oh, that's a short, powerful swing. Would you agree with that, Mike? I mean, you're throwing 95. It's the 5th inning. Why would 2 outs challenge somebody?
Over to third, and Aaron Hill goes to second base to get Franco.
I agree.
5-4 on the putout, a fielder's choice. Nothing for the Phils in the 5th. We head to the 6th inning. All even up at 3. Cross Philly of the week is continuing to solidify a spot in the back of the Phillies bullpen. Hector came out firing on all cylinders in April, and it continued through the month of May. He allowed just 4 earned runs in his first 25 appearances. He is among the NL relief leaders in strikeouts, and he was holding righties to an .043 average coming into the homestand. The 26-year-old Neris is having fun. He's sitting down hitters, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. We just might see Hector Neris again today. Hector pitched in yesterday's ball game. It's a 3-3 game as we go to the top of the 6th. We are into the Phillies bullpen. Colton Murray, a 3.21 ERA. He's 0-1. And he's on to face Neuenhuis, the pitcher's spot. I would still think it's going to be Guerra. His pitch count is fine. And then the top of the order. CB Buckner talking with Carlos Ruiz right now.
What do you think of those pitches, Carlos? Do you think I missed them? Jeremy thought they were strikes, or I thought they were balls.
I wondered if I was surprised CB didn't put his mask on when he was talking to him, because, you know, if you're keen to what's going on, you know that there was some questions about the balls and strikes. So Neuenhuis, who's walked twice today, will lead it off. Off the hands, out toward shallow left field. Freddie Galvis makes the one-handed catch. And what away.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
And Guerra will bat. So, Mike, did you see last night that Dr. Jim Lonborg was here?
Had breakfast with he and Rosie this morning. What a beautiful lady she is. Yes, Don and I had a nice little breakfast with him before. Jim looks great. We had about an hour to chat.
Yeah, back in '76 when Lefty was a 20-game winner, Jim Lonborg won 18 games for the Phillies in '76. As we were reminiscing last night to the '70s, which you were such a big part of. But in particular, '76, those were the uniforms the Phillies and the Brewers wore last night. And there are 2 outs. But you forget, I mean, how good Lefty was, but that Jim Lonborg had such a big year that year in 1976.
Yep. Yep. No question. Pitching behind lefty, he can get a lot of attention.
Murph told me an interesting fact, and he didn't mention it in the interview yesterday, but the show Cheers, the picture of Sam Malone in the bar is him.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Think you got any residuals for that?
I don't know.
He'd be the answer to the trivia question. VR is 3 for 3. No balls and 1 strike.
Wait a minute, let me get that straight. They have a picture that is Sam Malone on the show Cheers, but it's actually Jim Lonborg?
Yes.
I guess there's a resemblance to Ted Danson.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. VR homered his first time up. Infield single in the 2nd. RBI single in the 4th.
He's got a pretty good day going here.
Phillies bullpen the last 36 games, a 2.93 ERA. That's the lowest ERA in the National League during that span of time. Swing and a miss, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and the side is retired in order for the first time this afternoon. Only 7 pitches, and we're on to the bottom of the 6th. Davey Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Buy Nissan. ShopChooseNissan.com. And buy Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Bottom half of the 6th inning. Little day baseball here at Citizens Bank Park. Day game tomorrow as well. 1:35 first pitch. Today was the Aaron Nola giveaway. Thanks to the folks from IBEW Local 98 in the LSU colors. Aaron was at the gate giving out the giveaway today. What a trooper. He'll be on the mound tomorrow. Today he's celebrating his birthday. Cody Ashe will lead it off. Ashe doubled his last time up, but was left over at third. Phillies had a chance because he led off the inning with a double to get an extra run, but unable to do so. And they've only gotten one hit since the 2nd inning.
CB is getting a lot of close inside pitches to hitters, isn't he?
It is, and you know, he's hearing it from both dugouts, which I think is odd because it happens every game. 3-1 on the putout. One away. Tyler Goodell coming up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thanks very much, Tom. It's time for T-Mobile's greater coverage of baseball. The San Diego Padres and Chicago White Sox appear close to a trade. The Padres would send James Shield and his hefty contract to the Chicago White Sox. It would be a chance for the Padres to, clear some salary. Change of scenery for James Shields, what I think he needs about now. And, of course, the White Sox in contention would add a veteran arm to their staff. So that deal is reportedly close to being done. We'll keep you posted on that. The Mets, they're playing without Lucas Duda, David Wright, and Travis d'Arnaud. Well, they're also today playing without Yoenis Cespedes, who was scratched from their lineup today. He is listed as day-to-day with a sore hip. So we'll keep you posted on that as well. And Mark Teixeira, well, he is going to be out for a little while for that other New York team. The New York Yankees first baseman is headed to the 15-day disabled list. He has torn cartilage in his knee. He is going to be out for at least a couple of weeks. They're not exactly sure when he will be back. That is your greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile, guys.
Part of the reason why the Padres are dealing James Shields is the White Sox are going to pay $27 million of his contract. Right. The remaining $27 million for James Shields. A little freedom for the Padres as that ball is hit out towards short by Goodell. And there are 2 outs. All those big moves the Padres made before last year haven't panned out. And now they're trying to recoup some of the dollars and the players.
Can we go back to this Sam Malone thing?
Yeah.
It's been cleared up for me. I wasn't sure if maybe you knew exactly what they were talking about. It's Sam Malone was a minor league baseball player.
Correct. That was the premise. Yeah.
So it's Lomborg pitching. I was thinking they had, like an 8x10 of Lomborg there, and it's supposed to be Sam Malone, but it's Lomborg in his an action photo in his Red Sox uniform. Yeah, I remember seeing that now. Yeah.
That would have chewed at you the whole day, wouldn't it? Ground ball back toward the middle. Jeanette can't get it. It glances off his glove. And Cesar Hernandez is aboard with a 2-out single here in the 6th inning. Just the 2nd hit for the Phillies since the 2nd inning. And now Carlos Ruiz is up.
Another hit up the middle.
Righty and a lefty. Torres the righty and Will Smith the lefty. Phillies also have bullpen action, and they have a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle. Jimmy Paredes is out in the on-deck circle. If Carlos can get on here. That ball goes right on by Carter, and Cesar can get to third. Scooter Jeanette's throw doesn't have a whole lot on it, and he is safe at third base. Excellent slide.
He was moving.
Yeah, that was flat out speed. You say you can't outrun the baseball, but I just saw it. I mean, I literally saw a guy outrun the baseball right now. I would say with 2 outs, I'm not sure that's the smartest move. You don't want to get thrown out at third base.
No, you don't. And we give umpires, grief at times. But I must say, Manny Gonzalez really gets himself into a perfect position to make this call. He gets on the other side of the bag. You see him swoop in right there, right on top of the play.
Second error of the game for the pitcher. Now the Phillies have a runner at third with 2 men down. One ball, no strikes. Ruiz walked his last time up, singled his first time to the plate. Elvis Araujo warming up. Behind home plate, another chance for the folks in the Hall of Fame club. And it's 2-1 to Ruiz.
This will be pitch 100.
You know, when Garrett came back to the big leagues, or made it to the big leagues last year with the White Sox, he did so as a relief pitcher. You see Paredes in the on-deck circle. It was the first base coach for the Brewers, Carlos Subarro, who suggested they make him a starting pitcher, and it's worked out for them. Carlos hits it in the air to center field. Neuenhuis started back. Now he comes in. Plenty of time to get under it. And the inning is over. The Phillies leave one over at third base. It's their second base runner they left over at third today. We've played 6. We'll go to the 7th, all tied up at 3. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. The Phillies and the Brewers tied at 3. Jonathan Villar has 3 hits today, including a home run and a couple of RBIs. Cesar Hernandez, a 2-run home run to center field. Tommy Joseph also has homered. Jeremy Hellickson left after 5. He's not going to fare in the decision today. He's given way to Colton Murray, who has 1 scoreless inning under his belt, and now begins the 7th against Aaron Hill. Now the first pitch low and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Hill is hitless in 3 at-bats. his gear. His day may be done. Talking with Derek Johnson, the pitching coach. And Aaron Hill is hit by that pitch at 93 miles an hour. A base runner to lead off the 7th inning.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
That was a thud.
There's just no getting out of the way of this one.
Ow. No, there isn't. I'll tell you.
Right in the scap.
Awfully close to the plate.
Yeah, that does sound painful.
That's one of the hazards of playing our game. Being a hitter. Got out of the way of it. Very professional. Turning away from the pitcher.
Yeah. Ryan Braun today is 1 for 3 and 2 for 11 in the series. Outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
I think Ryan Braun had great actions as a hitter, but I think he's heavy into breathing, isn't he? He does.
It's to clear his mind.
He does a lot of deep breaths at home plate.
Off the plate, and that'll go foul, and it's 1-1.
Not a bad thing, I tell you. You know, it's a way to control your anxiety.
Well, he does.
Tension you might have in your body.
Yeah, he does have a routine, though. I mean, everything is exactly the same every single time. Even that
timeout where he holds his arm up.
Arm up. The swing is high. It's always a high swing. That one scorched back toward the foot of the Hall of Fame club. 1-2. Zips outside, a breaking ball, and it's 2-2. Murray's got a good curveball to complement his fastball. They've been trying to get him to throw a slider a little bit more.
That's what that was.
A little overthrow job right there.
And Chooch gave the slide step as well. The slider, I think, is an easy pitch to get out in front of and hang, because if you get too quick with that front leg, your arm drags and you leave it up. Exactly what he did there.
Now the 2-2 pitch to him. Fastball hit over to third. It is a foul ball, barehanded by Franco.
That's a tough call for the umpire.
Yeah, last second call.
And Franco's probably blocking his view a little bit.
But it's a smart play to at least make the throw to first base just in case.
And a strike 3 called right at the knees. One out here in the 7th inning. I don't remember the last time he went down looking against the Phillies. It just doesn't pop into my head.
Wow, that was one I wish, or he wishes he'd have back, I think. I had to tell you, I mean, I understand that ball was hard, but he kind of got locked up there, you know. His hands came forward a little, boom. See how he sits into that stride, and he really wasn't in a good position to pull the trigger. I'm glad of that.
Yeah.
Putting a lot of energy into that throw to first base.
Colton is a max effort guy. Everything he does, it's hard.
Oh, and 1 to Lucroy.
Nice location there, though. That heater.
I mean, I see Lucroy as a possible hit and run guy, but he's a cleanup hitter. And I don't see Hill being a base stealing threat by any means.
Lucroy does use the whole field, though. We've definitely seen that over the years.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Marlins have taken a 2-1 lead over the Mets. Martin Prado, a home run. Bartolo Colon on the hill for the Mets in that ball game. No balls, 2 strikes to Lucroy. Opposite way.
This guy having a heck of a year, Martin Prado.
Good player. Ooh. Ooh. Again is Aaron Hill. Marlins is a team where, I mean, offensively, they're a tough match for anybody in the East. The Nationals and the Mets, fortunate that they have the pitching they do to maybe neutralize them, but they can hit.
It's a very balanced lineup.
Pretty good hitting coach down there.
Out to center field. Odubel Herrera waits for it, makes the catch. There are 2 outs. Time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. All right, guys, here we go. Who are the 2 players ahead of Ryan Braun on the Brewers all-time runs scored list?
Robin and Paul.
Robin Yount and Paul Molitor are correct. Robin Yount, the leader, with 1,632 runs scored. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Now, you both also wrote down Cecil Cooper.
Ben was on that one. Good. I wrote it down because Ben told me or had
Good pickup.
Down.
Excellent hitter.
This is my second one.
Cecil Cooper, by the way, is fourth on that list. Jim Gantner is 5th.
I don't feel so bad for getting it wrong then.
Former Phil Don Money is 8th on the list for Brewers.
I wonder how many trivia questions there are that Yount and Molitor are the answers to.
I would think a majority of the Brewers questions, yes. 0-2 to Chris Carter. 95 on that fastball from Murray. He's topped at 96 in this inning.
Colton gets it up there.
Lou Brock would be proud. Way outside. There's 96. He pulled it too much, though. It's 2-2 now to Chris Carter, with Aaron Hill waiting on deck, or waiting at first base, and Scooter Gennett waiting on deck.
Another close one. It was funny there. Pete motioned over to Tommy Joseph to hold him on. 3-2, 2 outs.
Just their thought is he's dead pull hitter. Runner goes, pitches outside, ball 4. So hit batter and a walk. Sandwiched around a couple outs, and now Scooter Gennett is up with 2 men down and runners on first and second in the 3-3 game. Bob McClure coming out to chat with Colton Murray. Bullpen is quiet right now. Araujo had been warming up. That was in case Colton Murray's spot had come up in the order. Gennett is hitless in 3 at-bats. He's grounded out twice, and he is struck out. Now here's the thing about Gennett. He grounded out and struck out based on the off-speed pitches that Hellickson threw. You got a totally different style out here now with Colton Murray.
Struck out on a strong fastball his last time up from Hellickson.
Hellickson surprised him with that 91-mile-an-hour fastball. So the conversation is over with. Here we go with 2 runners on in a tie game.
That's where the infielders are all yelling at each other. Keep the ball in the infield. Dive on it. Keep it in the infield. The old cat and mouse pitcher batter game here. You know, 2 men on base, tie ball game, trying to get him to chase something off speed, make an easy out. If he doesn't chase, now you're falling behind and you got to give him a pitch to hit. That's good hitting.
Good 2-0 pitch for Colton Murray there.
Paint on the outside corner.
Outside, 3-1. Domingo Santana is on deck. There he is.
The mindset of a pitcher, I've never been able to figure it out, and I've been in this game for 40 years. I always have thought I had, but like right now, would you rather start over with the bases loaded and the right-handed hitter than stick one right down the middle of this guy? Ben wouldn't.
Well, he did throw it right down the middle to him.
Right?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have thrown Scooter Gennett a 1-0 breaking ball.
Yep, true.
I just think Colton, for his stuff, I think he works too hard. To trust it. I like his stuff, I really do, but he throws a lot of pitches, and so much of the times like he doesn't trust it. Believe in it.
Runners will be off on this pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes. In the air to left field. Cody Ashe's under it. And the inning is over.
Nice.
No runs, no hits, 2 men left. It's time to stretch here in Philadelphia. Phillies and the Brewers tied up at 3. Going to send Peter Borges up to pinch hit as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning in a 3-3 ball game. The Cubs are coming to town to wrap up this homestand. 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wednesday is a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Only time this year the Cubs will be in Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. Iggy is taking some selfies out on Ashburn Alley. Look out. Will Smith is taking over on the mound for the Brewers here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Just off the disabled list, we saw him in game 1 of this series. And here's Peter Borges. Phillies have Hector Neris now warming up in the bullpen. Borges 5 for 46 in his career as a pinch hitter. Corners pinch in just a little bit, and you see what Smith did against the Phillies in his relief appearance to start this series.
Good low 90s fastball, very good slider.
Off the end of the bat, popped up. First base side, and Carter is there. Pitch one away. As Borges is retired. And Odubel Herrera is coming up. Ryan Howard is roaming the dugout. Hasn't taken the sweatshirt off yet. He was down underneath hitting earlier. He's been doing a lot of over the last several days. Odubel Herrera is 0 for 3, 0 for 8 in this series. His average is down to .306.
Nice job by Colton Murray.
Certainly gave him the bridge to the two back-end guys.
Threw a lot of pitches, ran some deep counts, but bottom line is he got out unscathed.
Off the glove of Lucroy, 1 ball, 1 strike to Herrera. Tapper over the mound. Scooter Gennett has it, flips to first.
Good play. Yeah, it was a good play. Any hesitation at all, any bobble, any hesitation, Odubel safe. Sprinting towards third base on that play too. Here you see the replay.
He's got to get enough
short hop too. Yeah, a short hop.
Very nice play.
Well, now 2 outs, and here's Freddie Galvis, 0 for 3. As that bat came from the left side of the plate. Pop out, line out, ground out. Out to right field, playable for Santana. And Will Smith has a 7-pitch 7th inning, and the Phillies go down 1, 2, 3. We played 7 here on the Saturday afternoon. We'll head to the 8th with the Brewers and the Phils tied up at 3. Making dreams come true. That is Jaden DeTulio, who you may have seen along with his mom on the Today Show on NBC about 3 weeks or so ago. There they are, getting a chance to go up to the Today Show studios. They were granted a wish to have Jaden's room redone as part of a makeover from the folks at the Today Show and Sherwin-Williams. And they also did the mom's room as well. They're from South Jersey. Jaden was in the NICU for 500 days after he was born, went through an assortment of surgeries, and he was promised an opportunity to meet the Philly Fanatic, and this is what he did earlier in the day when he first met the Fanatic. And Look how excited he is. And then he gets a chance to dance with him on top of the dugout here at Citizens Bank Park. Jaden, you did a heck of a job. You made the Fanatic look good. Here's Hector Neris as we begin the top of the 8th inning in a 3-3 game. Outside, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Domingo Santana, who is 1 for 2. He scored a run back in the 4th. Remember when Domingo played for the Phillies when he was in Lakewood before the trade to the Astros? He was like spindly thin. I mean, really thin. Big kid, and was a teenager basically when the Astros acquired him. Ed Wade was the GM of the Astros at the time during the Hunter Pence trade, and he was part of that deal. And I think a lot of the folks that were in Lakewood who saw him for most of that summer said, this kid's got a chance to be pretty special. He eventually wound up here with the Brewers, and he hits that one out to left field. It's deep. Ashley's going back, and it is gone. Well, he's not spindly anymore. He has just given the Brewers the lead, his 4th home run of the season. And it's now 4-3 Milwaukee here in the top of the 8th inning.
Hector fell behind, missed with a couple of splits early, and the fastball got to the 3-1 count. Have to serve it up. Boom. Knee high, middle of the plate. That boy's not spindly anymore.
Nope. McClure out to the mound with Kirk Neuenhuis coming up.
Strange time for a visit unless you're trying to buy some time.
Well, they've got Andrew Bailey starting to throw in the bullpen.
And he's heating up fast.
Santana just off the disabled list with that strained right shoulder.
Some relievers would amaze me when they would come to a game. I'd always go down, if I wasn't starting, I'd go down either to warm up pitchers or, if they needed to go double barrel down there. But some guys would throw 5 pitches and they'd be like, they'd wave their cap saying, I'm good, knowing they get 8 more out here. And I said, how do they do that? Some can get it going in a hurry.
Ball is hit toward first, caught out of the air by Tommy Joseph. 1 away.
Yeah, that ball, nice play by Tommy. That ball's hooking right back to him. The left-hander hits that ball that way. That ball kind of hooks back toward the first baseman. Nice play. What do you think you need as a reliever? Maybe 20 pitches? See the replay. Watch this ball hook back. Comes right back to him.
20. Well, the actual catcher is down. I wouldn't say you need that many as a reliever. Half the time they spend just trying to get loose to get on to the rubber.
I remember Papelbon used to talk about if it was a warm day, he didn't need many pitches at all to get himself loose in the 9th inning of a game. Ground ball over to second base. Cesar throws out Presley, the pitch hitter. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. For great summer deals, visit your local Toyota dealer or buy at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By McDonald's, jumpstart your morning with a hot or iced McCafe coffee, now starting at just $1. And by your local Ford stores. So 2 away, top of the order. Here's VR. He struck out his last time up.
Whatever Bob McClure told him, it's working.
There's that split disappearing.
The only hitter he fell behind was the one that hit the home run.
I would have to think it was along the lines of be a little more aggressive.
Yeah, you got to trust your stuff. There still is an evolution to Hector. I mean, he has to. I thought it was interesting. Larry Anderson was talking about it today. He said there were times during his career early on, before he really grasped how good his slider was, that he didn't trust himself, that he was getting guys out, but then if there was a little bit of doubt that crept in, it would cause him problems. That one's over the mound. Galvis is up with it, hurries the throw in time to get the side is retired. However, the Brewers take the lead. They do so on a home run by Domingo Santana. We played 7.5. Maikel Franco will lead it off when we return. Different plays here.
All right, chopper in the infield. Ryan Braun, Freddie Galvis. Boom! Great hands, great timing, great sense of speed. Just nips him. Tommy Jones with a nice little cheat move. Scooter Gennett on an in-between hop. Gets a double Herrera. And that's Island. And that is your Hyundai defensive plays of the game.
Yeah, if you're going to be a middle infielder, you have to be able to make those plays.
Yes, you do.
And that is your Hyundai defensive assortment.
Freddie's done that all year, though. I think that's where one of his biggest improvements has been.
It's a great year defensively, no doubt.
Maikel Franco leads it off against Tyler Thornburg, and it's strike one. Thornburg is over the top as far as his motion goes, but there's some movement. He's had a good year, 3.09 ERA, 33 strikeouts in 23 1/3. And it's 1-1.
It's good numbers right there. 33 punchos, 23 innings.
And the back end of this bullpen is for the Brewers is very, very good. All hard throwers, but a lot of movement.
They have a weakness. What is it? Starting pitching?
I would think that's it. Yeah, I would think that's it. But they feel like in their farm system, they've got guys that are kind of like the Phillies that are coming up. Phillies have seen some of those guys. That ball's out towards center field. Going back on it is Neuenhuis. He just missed it. And there's one away.
I guess he took just a little sting out of that bat.
Thornburg to take a deep breath.
Cale did everything he could to try to get on top of it, drive it. That's a tough ball to hit. That, you know, like letter high heater with some cheese on it.
Yep.
Tommy Joseph homered his first time up. Phillies had a 3-1 lead in this ball game after trailing it 1-0. And Joseph pops it up. Lucroy eventually makes the catch. He and Aaron Hill bump into each other.
I'll have a little.
What does he say? You're a hog. I called that ball.
Never had a problem with giving this to the third baseman. You guys are always running in on it. I'm always running, trying to catch up to it. See, he's running sideways and backwards. Is Lucroy. Aaron Hill just has to run in on the ball.
Ashe doubled his second time up today. Phillies have had 2 occasions where they've had a runner at third in this ball game and haven't scored. 1 ball, no strikes to Cody. One ball, 1 strike.
Swing.
Boy, gets smacked when you're heading the count like that. Turning loose. Curveball right there. Went off that 95-mile-an-hour heater. A little defensive switch out here now. Let's see a deal on that.
Make sure he doesn't lay one down.
Oh, okay, got you.
Swing and a miss, and Thornburg has a very easy 9-pitch 8th inning. The last 2 innings have gone very quickly for the Brewers relievers. We'll go to the 9th. 1-run lead for Milwaukee. On the Arizona Diamondbacks, it's part of a 4-game series, and it's Chevrolet Father's Appreciation Day. A Hawaiian shirt free to men 15 and older. Order your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. I think we'll be sporting that Hawaiian shirt that day, fellas.
Really?
Yeah, make sure you wear something that matches. Here's Andrew Bailey.
Don't match Murph's skin after sitting in the sun all day.
That's right. Bailey to pitch the 9th to try to keep this at a 1-run game. We have said that a few times on this homestand. Phillies trying to keep a deficit at 1 run. We said it in game 1 of this series, and the Brewers tacked on 2 more. Aaron Hill leads it off. We said it in one of the games against the Washington Nationals. It was a 2-1 ball game, and the Nationals scored 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning. Hill was hit by a pitch his last time. One ball, 1 strike.
Good numbers on Bailey. 3-0 with a 2.30 ERA.
Hitting in 2/3 scoreless in yesterday's ball game.
I don't like the walks, but
Ben, you can't have everything.
Can't have everything, Tom.
Swing and a miss, 1-2. Pretty good movement on that.
I have noticed the last couple games he's had a slight cut to that fastball. I like it.
That had a cut about a foot.
Curveball up high, back-to-back curves, and now it's a 3-ball 2-strike at bat. Ryan Braun on deck.
Well, you get yourself a nice fastball to hit right here, don't you?
You would think.
Popped him up. Ruiz off of the mask, but that's going to be back in the Diamond Club. Phillies half of the 9th inning. It'll be Goodell, Hernandez, and Ruiz. I'm sure there'll be a Howard in there, maybe a Blanco at some point.
A Rupp.
Cameron is available and is hot offensively. Another foul ball. It remains 3-2.
Tell you, he looks confident at home plate now, doesn't he, Cameron Rupp?
He did last night. They've been tinkering with some of his approach.
Oh, he's got nice action right now. Uh-oh.
That one is back near us.
Oh, that's the highest one I've seen in my career here broadcasting.
That was coming right back into one of the booths, either into.
You better stay alive now. My guy next to me here wasn't watching that.
Yep.
It was close. It went off the facade.
Here we go. Watch. You've, I'm sure, seen one up there, right?
We saw one go up there last homestand, but that had a good angle of coming into the TV booth next door, the Brewers booth, with Brian Anderson and Bill Schroeder. Inside, ball 4, and Hill draws a walk. Well, with Ryan Braun coming up, it's time now for our Cold Hard Fact, brought to you by Coors Light. Ryan Braun, number 2 on the list among career batting average in Milwaukee history. Jeff Cirillo, who was a good hitter, very good hitter, is number 1. I would not have thought Jeff Cirillo would be number 1.
It's a doubles machine.
Darrell Hamilton sits in 5th place, but Molitor is 3rd. Cecil Cooper is 4th. And Ryan Braun, who struck out his last time up, pops it up. Tommy Joseph in foul territory, waits. One away. Well, up to this point, they've done a good job against Ryan Braun in this series. Unfortunately, they haven't done a good job of it against everybody else.
Yeah, that ball, if you're thinking breaking ball, you got it on your mind, that ball was right down the middle of the plate. Got away with one there. But I've never been, I've never been, because you know, I've never been a guy that thinks that a first pitch curve ball is a good ball to hit. I mean, I don't understand it. I used to duck if they throw a first pitch curve ball to me.
Even if it was in the strike zone?
Yeah.
Sell it, baby.
I do think you can be too right-handed dominant.
As far as the lineup goes?
Yeah, something about this this team right here. I say very impressive offense for me. Wow.
There's a line drive base hit to center field for Lucroy. It puts runners on first and second. It's his third hit of the day.
Yeah. Squared that baby up right up the middle. I was saying, I mean, you don't even need a left-hander in the bullpen.
Well, that is true.
This team.
3 hits today again for Jonathan Lucroy.
Lucroy 3 hits today, 6 hits in the 3 games so far in the series. And now Chris Carter.
Blue Jays same way. Toronto Blue Jays dominant right-handed all the way.
Yes.
They can mash. We were too, you know, back in the Luzinski with me and Luzinski, myself, Maddox, Boone. Bake used to be a key guy in that lineup. Bake McBride, you know, he did third one day and I'd hit third the next, but having Bake McBride at 300 hitter right there in the middle of us just changed everything.
That's true. I mean, having somebody in the middle changes it for you guys. That
right.
was. Yeah. I mean, you had guys like Boa who were switch hitters and Pete Rose who were switch hitters, but having a guy in the middle to break it up. No balls, 1 strike to Carter. 0 for 3, but with a sac fly, and he lays off this time. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition 1-2-3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And a fastball by him. It's 1-2. Pete Buchanan hoping to get through this inning and keeping it at a 1-run lead. Craig Counsell knows he's got a lights out closer. And Jeremy Jeffress hit that ball twice.
Double hit. TC Chen.
There's Torres.
Boink. Boink.
Still remarkable to think back to the World Series when Hunter Pence did that. He got a base hit on it.
And that bat exploded.
Sure did. Try to get a fastball by him again. 93 on that one, and Carter stays alive. Well, Bailey, as we said, an inning and 2/3 yesterday, and now 17 pitches here today in the top of the 9th. Carlos Ruiz has caught a lot of pitches today. He could have broken in a new glove. The amount of pitches he's caught today. A lot of deep counts. Two and 2.
It's the only thing I did to break in a mitt was just catch with it. Some guys used to wrap it, put a couple balls in there, wrap it with a sani, dunk it in a bucket of water.
Shaving cream.
Shaving
I
cream.
never dumped it in a bucket of water. Center field. That's well hit. Herrera's going back toward the track. He's under it. Makes the catch. The runner's tag. The throw goes towards second. Cut off by Galvis. He does strike out a lot, but he's scary sometimes
Yes,
when he takes those
He
swings.
just missed that one. You get that ball up in the air straightaway center, it goes. Today, there's no wind at all.
Really isn't. That's just a hanging breaking ball.
I think same pitch he hit out, didn't he? One of our earlier games in this series.
He had a home run in game 1 in the 4th inning.
Yep.
So now Scooter Gennett with 2 men down. Gennett is 0 for 4.
Need to do whatever you can to keep this a 1-run ball game.
Have to. Nice comfortable grab. Torres now is throwing a little bit more than Jeffress. Jeffress is probably ready to go. Jeffress number 21. A cutter backdoor 2-2. Andrew Bailey trying to finish off the top of the 9th inning. Runners lead off second and third. And 2 strikes just off the outside part of the plate.
Heck of a take right there.
Yeah. Take a look.
It's out.
Boy, that is really close.
Really close.
I don't know how he didn't swing at it.
Exactly. How did he not swing at that pitch? Unless you're looking for something else and get completely fooled.
Back toward the middle, a base hit to center field. 1 run is in. The second run will score. It's now a 6-3 Milwaukee lead. After not getting the call on the 2-2 pitch, Scooter Gennett is able to loop a single to center field to build the Brewers lead up to 3 runs.
It's a fastball down.
Well, had just a little cut on it right there. 3-2. Amazing what a better hitter you become. 3-2. You got to challenge you. Well, you know, in reality, he didn't have to. I mean, I know he figured he could get him out. But the guy behind him coming up just hit a home run. This guy didn't go Santana.
Santana is 2 for 3 today. 2 runs scored. The home run gave them the lead 4-3. Doable, but it's tough to get 3 against Jeremy Jeffress, as hot as he has been out of the bullpen for the Brewers. That takes his lead off first. No balls and 1 strike to Santana. Inside, they throw behind Gennett, and he is safe at first. That's where Ben likes a wrong-hander at first base.
Yep. Throw that tag down.
Dave Dittinger today did not make the clean play over on the third base camera well. Although, you know what? That ball was hit pretty hard. I don't know if I would have either. Oh, look at that. Dave, that's not good. We got dentage.
Gonna have to call the dent doctor.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch to Santana. And a strike 3 calls. Side is retired. Santana's thinking that pitch is up. 2-run score in the inning on a 2-run single by Scooter Gennett. He's given the Brewers the lead. It's 6-3 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Of the game. We'll go back to the first inning and start there. VR, bam.
3-2 fastball down and in. Lefties love it. We've seen him go to center, left, and now to right. And then Domingo Santana gets a fastball on a 3-1 count. Hits it out to left field to put Milwaukee up 4-3. And they are your WB Mason deliveries of the game.
Yeah, Brewers tacked on 2 more in their half of the 9th inning. So this is a 3-run save now for Jeremy Jeffress. Jeffress is a very talented young man. 14 saves, a 2.45 ERA. He picked up his 14th save in the 9th inning in game 1 of this series. He's unscored upon in 21 of his 26 appearances this year.
Big hill to climb. Start very simple. Men on base. Take a few pitches, see if you can get him to throw some balls. Get him to 3 balls, take a 3-1 pitch. Need 2 men on base to get that tying run up there.
Tyler Goodell will be the first one. It'll be Goodell, then Hernandez, and then we'll see where Pete Mackanin goes from there. If indeed the tying run is aboard. Goodell takes a strike. It's 0-1. 97 on that first pitch. It's a free and easy 97-98 from Jeffress. Over to third base. It turns out to be a big hop for Aaron Hill. 1 away. Coming up after this ball game, Tommy Green is standing by for Phillies post-game live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. He'll break down this game between the Phils and the Brewers. And by the way, how about the Brewers bullpen tonight? What they've done. Phillies bullpen has given up 3 runs today. The Brewers bullpen has not allowed a base runner. They have faced 7. They've retired all 7 batters.
Last pitch there at 98. With a ton of sink. I still have that offensive mindset where I didn't want to give an opposing pitcher a lot of credit, but it's
hard not to.
That's tough.
Outside, 2-0. Two and a third, no hits today for the Brewers bullpen. 4 innings last night, no hits.
All right, I'm assuming the take sign is on.
I would think so.
No walks either for the bullpen.
There's your take.
All you can do. Take sign again. Well, it's tough. You play this come from behind baseball when you get pitchers like this.
Opposite way, base hit for Cesar. His third hit of the afternoon. He came into this ballgame 0 for his last 10. So Carlos will bat.
That is pretty.
Yeah, that's really great hitting. I personally don't think it's the right choice, even though it was a strike.
That is just a pretty swing.
Yeah.
Going with the pitch. Let him provide the power.
Carlos is 1 for 2 today. Walked back in the 4th inning. Ryan Howard has come out of the on deck circle. Reminder, we're back here tomorrow. 1:35 is the first pitch. We'll be on the air at 1:30. And don't forget the big Sunday show. We'll kick everything off at 1 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. Aaron Nola will not be giving out his T-shirts at the gates. He'll be on the mound tomorrow.
That's some good umpiring right there. Whoo, he's had a lot of close pitches. Now, I'll make a point right here. Carlos has to take. And I don't know if it's the way that they're playing the game nowadays, but we've got to get to ball 3. We got to give this pitcher a chance to put a runner on base. Nothing you can do. If he throws that a little low, you go to the 3-0 count. You got a chance to tie the ball game up, right? You don't have a chance to tie this ball game up unless you get the tying run to home plate. People are saying, what's he talking about? Is he crazy?
Got to get on.
Got to get on.
Well, you got to get on, but the first way to make an out is what? Swing the bat.
You mentioned it, Tom. It has been a long day for Chooch. 182 pitches today. Phillies pitchers have thrown.
People never think about that, right? All the bam, 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 catching those pitches all day.
182.
Tapper over the mound. Jeanette charges. They'll get the out at first. And Cesar's up to second base. 2 away. And here comes Ryan Howard. Last chance for the Phils.
See, Ryan, just take that same approach that Cesar Hernandez had. Go with it. These numbers pinch hitting are just incredible.
Thought they might have used Blanco here to then maybe extend the inning. Obviously, you'd want Ryan to extend the inning. If he hits a home run, it's still a 1-run game. But Pete has decided to use Howard in this spot. Howard 152, 8 home runs, 19 RBIs.
Anybody out there that might be wondering about that, yeah, it's a manager's decision. If Ryan does get on base, you're gonna have to use a runner.
Right.
Right. For me, just and again, it's of opinion. I see Ryan more in the Galvis slot in the batting order, which is behind Odubel.
Runner goes, pitches back off the glove of Jeffress. He picks it up on one hop, and the ball game is over. The Brewers have taken 2 of the first 3 as they win today by a final score of 6-3. They were down 3-1, but they scored 5 unanswered runs. Domingo Santana is the Chevrolet player of the game. It was his home run that gave the Brewers the lead for good. For the Phillies in their half of the 9th inning, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. Hats off to the Brewers bullpen. 7 scoreless innings, 7 hitless innings, or 6 hitless innings coming into this one here. 6-3 the final score.